Coming up on 5 Minute News. France's Emmanuel Macron wins second term as president. Top-level US delegation meets Zelenskyy in Ukraine. And climate change brings multiple wildfires in New Mexico. It's Monday, April 25. I'm Anthony Davis. Emmanuel Macron won a second term as French president on Sunday, triggering relief among allies that the nuclear-armed power won't abruptly shift course in the midst of the war in Ukraine, from European Union and NATO efforts to punish and contain Russia's military expansionism. The second five-year term for the 44-year-old liberal centrist spared France and Europe from the seismic upheaval of having far-right populist Marine Le Pen at the helm, Macron's presidential runoff challenger, who quickly conceded defeat but still scored her best-ever electoral showing. Acknowledging that numerous voters cast ballots for him simply to keep out the fiercely nationalist Le Pen, Macron pledged to reunite the country that is filled with so many doubts, so many divisions, and work to assuage the anger of French voters that fed Le Pen's campaign. Le Pen pledged to dilute French ties with the 27-nation EU, NATO and Germany, moves that would have shaken Europe's security architecture as the continent deals with its worst conflict since World War II. Le Pen also spoke against EU sanctions on Russian energy supplies and faced scrutiny during the campaign over her previous friendliness with the Kremlin. A chorus of European leaders hailed Macron's victory, since France has played a leading role in international efforts to punish Russia with sanctions and is supplying weapons to Ukraine. Democracy wins, Europe wins, said Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez. Macron won with 58.5% of the vote to Le Pen's 41.5%, significantly closer than when they first faced off in 2017. Macron is the first French president in 20 years to win re-election, since incumbent Jacques Chirac trounced Le Pen's father in 2002. The US Secretaries of State and Defense met on Sunday night with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy in the highest-level visit to the country's capital by an American delegation since the start of Russia's invasion. The meeting with US Secretary of State Antony Blinken and US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, which was confirmed by a senior Ukrainian official, came as Ukraine pressed the West for more powerful weapons against Russia's campaign in the Donbass region of eastern Ukraine, where Moscow's forces sought to dislodge the last Ukrainian troops in the battered port of Mariupol. Before the session, Zelenskyy said he was looking for the Americans to produce results, both in arms and security guarantees. You can't just come to us empty-handed today, and we're expecting not just presents or some kind of cakes, we're expecting specific things and specific weapons, he said. Zelenskyy's last face-to-face meeting with a top US official was on the 19th of February in Munich with Vice President Kamala Harris, 5 days before Russia's invasion. While the West has funneled military equipment to Ukraine, Zelenskyy has stressed repeatedly that his country needs more heavy weapons, including long-range air defense systems and warplanes. The governor of New Mexico, Michelle Grisham, has signed emergency declarations as 20 wildfires continued to burn on Sunday in nearly half of the state's drought-stricken 33 counties. One wildfire in northern New Mexico that started on the 6th of April merged with a newer fire on Saturday to form the largest blaze in the state, leading to widespread evacuations in Mora and San Miguel counties. That fire was 84 square miles on Sunday and just 12% contained. An uncontained wind-driven wildfire in northern New Mexico that began on April 17 had charred 81 square miles of ponderosa pine, oak brush and grass by Sunday morning at an unincorporated community in Mora County. Meanwhile, in Arizona, some residents forced to evacuate due to a wildfire near Flagstaff were allowed to return home yesterday morning, In Nebraska, authorities said wind-driven wildfires sweeping through parts of that state killed a retired Cambridge fire chief and injured at least 11 firefighters. Wind and temperatures in New Mexico diminished Saturday but remained strong enough to still fan fires. Dozens of evacuation orders remained in place. More than 200 structures had been charred by the wildfires so far, and an additional 900 remain threatened, Grisham said. Fire management officials said an exact damage count was unclear because it's still too dangerous for crews to go in and look at all the homes that have been lost. Some 1,000 firefighters were battling the wildfires across New Mexico, which already has secured about $3 million in grants to help with the fires. Grisham said she had asked the White House for more federal resources, and she's calling for a ban of fireworks statewide. Wildfire has become a year-round threat in the West, given changing conditions that include earlier snowmelt and rain coming later in the fall, scientists have said. The problems have been exacerbated by decades of fire suppression and poor management, along with a more than 20-year megadrought that studies link to human-caused climate change. You can subscribe to 5-Minute News on YouTube with your preferred podcast app. Ask your smart speaker or enable 5-Minute News as your Amazon Alexa flash briefing skill. Subscribe, rate and review online at 5minute.news. 5-Minute News is an Evergreen podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news daily.